What is up, everyone? Today, we're going to be talking about how to create pipelines, deal stages, and deal records in HubSpot for your agency. But before we get into that, I just want to ask two things of you. One, if you could please like the video below, clicking the like button. And number two, if you could watch this video to 50%, throw it on 1.5 times speed. I'd really appreciate it. So again, if you found this valuable at all, please like the video below. Comment any other topics around HubSpot, CRM, marketing and sales operations that you want me to cover, and I'll make sure to get to them. All right, so let's get into it. Make my face smaller here. So first, let's talk about why we're tracking deals and using a pipeline in the first place. So if you're just starting out, or maybe you have one client, you're likely not tracking deals in any sort of software. You're keeping everything in email or spreadsheet, or maybe just your brain. So, this is fine if you're new, but as you grow, you will be doing more outreach. You'll be getting more sales calls, signing more clients, and no one can manage all that activity in an inbox or a spreadsheet and expect to actually still scale their business. So, what a lot of people don't realize are all of the consequences that come with not building and maintaining a CRM for your business. Most people think about doing this way too late, and it slows things down for them. So the first thing that happens if you don't build a CRM is you're going to end up with an incredibly messy business. Things are going to be all over the place. You're not going to have a tool to keep all of your notes, documents, details about a prospect or lead or a customer, where they're at in their life cycle. Everything's going to get really messy. The second is you won't be able to have an organization around, and really any organization around your customer data. So improving the customer experience and your offers will just be a lot harder. You won't be able to find any trends in your data, or you won't be able to see any things that come up in your conversations with prospects or leads or customers that will help you drive out insights to drive your business without this. Next, overall, if you just don't have this, if you don't have your pipeline, your deal stages set up, you're just going to be much more inefficient. So you'll be spending a lot more time on repetitive tasks and just finding information. You don't want to receive an email and then spend the next half hour finding information, digging through a bunch of documents through Google Drive or something like that, when it could just be in one place. So next, if you don't do this, you won't really have any continuity in your organization. So as you scale, you're going to want to hire someone, or even if you've hired a few people and one person leaves, there will be no central place where they can jump in on day one and see the customer information, see how your marketing works, and know what is happening in the business or what is happening in that particular part of the CRM that they're responsible for. And finally, and probably most importantly, you will leave a lot of money on the table when sales leads aren't followed up with systematically. Your CRM has the ability to provide the processes, the templates, the reminders, the workflows that will increase your follow-ups and will ultimately lead to more sales. So while there's a ton of things that you can do inside HubSpot, one of the first things you'll want to do is set up your pipeline, your deal stages, and know how to create a deal. So this is one of the honestly simplest but most tangible areas of value within any CRM. You can keep all your prospect, your lead, your customer data all in one place, so you know the exact type of communication or offer they should receive. So now let's get into it. How should you actually structure your pipeline and start automating your business? So your pipeline is made up of stages. And the first question you might have here is, what stages should you actually create? So think back to your other customers and how you close those deals. If you're just starting out, you might be working off of 1 or 2 points of data, but just think critically about what were the exact activities that happened, and can you compile all of them into specific stages? And especially when you're doing this for the first time, make sure you keep things simple. You can get more sophisticated as you grow your business. And so this here is how I've structured my pipeline for my agency. And here's how I define each stage. There are assumptions that I make in each stage to keep things simple. And I suggest you do the same, so you don't have a million stages that try to account for every single activity that could possibly happen in a deal flow. So the first one here is connected. I've made this, for me, this means I've made positive contact with the prospect and we have booked a meeting. Really nothing happens in my CRM before that. There's no prospecting or anything like that. I'll get into that a little bit later, but this is pretty straightforward for me. So next after that is meeting completed. Our first discovery call is over with. If they aren't qualified, they'll get moved over here to close lost. Big pro tip for you, make sure you actually use the close lost reason property that HubSpot gives you in a deal record. This is an open text field where you can put in the reason why a deal was lost, but it is searchable, so you can start to easily identify trends and why people aren't buying from you or which stage of the deal process they're dropping off at. So for me, I have an automation set up that if the close loss reason contains timing or like not right now or a few other keywords like that, a task will automatically get created in my ClickUp account to follow up with them in 3 months. So the next stage here is proposal sent. I've created the proposal for them based on this discovery call that we've had, and it's been shared with them. The next one here, very similar, is I've gotten either verbal or written agreement on the proposal and have shared the contract with them. And so the contract has a separate document. It has service agreement, details on timeline, deliverables, invoice schedule, stuff like that. I'm personally starting to combine my proposal and contract in the same document just to streamline the deal flow. So I may consider combining these two stages in the future. I also may add a stage after contract sent, like verbal acceptance or something, since this is pretty common behavior in larger clients where they have to go through procurement or get things signed off internally. But right now I just haven't seen that enough in my clients to warrant that stage. So you'll want to toe the line between what is actually necessary to improve your pipeline versus what is just extra fluff that creates distraction and slows you down. The final one, the most exciting one, closed one. This simply means they sign the contract and they're now ready for onboarding. So when a deal enters closed one, this is where a lot of the fun automation kind of stuff can happen. For example, all my onboarding tasks get triggered in ClickUp when a deal enters closed one. That means send the first contact email within 24 hours, create the full onboarding email, which includes things like the deposit invoice, a welcome video, an invitation to our Slack channel, create and schedule all invoices outlined in the contract, set up internal assets to manage the work. So like a ClickUp folder or list or task list, to-do list, something like that, just so we can get going right away. You want to make this process really easy on yourself, but you also want to make it so you can move very, very quickly. The first 24 hours once you sign a client are the most critical. You want to really mitigate any sort of buyer's remorse feeling that they could be having. And finally, here is closed lost. At some point during any of these stages, the lead just decided not to move forward. And so now, because of my offer, I know that most of the people I target for my high ticket offer are 70% qualified. I know they have a HubSpot and their company revenue and size warrants hiring an operations service, to manage their CRM. So if they're getting on a call with me, there's definitely a need to improve their HubSpot. So I don't have to worry too much about that. That being said, I still lose deals for a few reasons. So, like I said, there's still a few reasons why you could lose a deal. One, there's just not enough budget for the client. Two, it's just not the right time for them. Sometimes it's intertwined with the budget itself. The call could go really well, but ultimately, they weren't the final decision maker, and the deal just got shut down or it died out, whatever it is. So a little side note here, these reasons reflect 3 out of the 4 categories of the BANT sales framework. It stands for budget, authority, time, and needs and timeline. It's pretty basic, kind of 101 level sales framework here, but definitely check it out to improve your sales calls. So updating your stage properties. Let's head back into here. So to edit your deal stage properties, you're going to want to go to settings, gear icon in the top right, go to objects, deals, pipelines, select the pipeline that you're editing. And so here, you can edit which properties must get filled out in order to enter certain deal stages. So these can be any properties that you set up, so custom ones, or HubSpot defines for you by default. So this is particularly helpful if you run automations or internal notifications to update people as a deal moves through the pipeline. If it's just you or maybe one other person, you have a really small team, this is a great thing to put in place to ensure you are consistently entering accurate data in your CRM. So right here, you can see the only stage property that I have set up right now is the close lost reason. So this ensures that if I move a deal to close lost, I'm going to document the reason why something happened, so I can continue to improve my sales process, since this is a really high priority for me. The last thing on pipelines is right here, your deal probability. So you can set this when you create the pipeline, and it's definitely something that will change over time. You don't need to get it exact, but try to guess what the chances are of you closing the deal is as it moves through the various stages. This will also impact how HubSpot calculates your pipeline value, so you can get an accurate number of what your sales numbers are going to be for the month. And so I want to see here. Yeah, so it would show up at the bottom. It would show like a weighted value. It would show the total dollar value in a given stage and the weighted value based on the deal probability that you put for that given stage. And the cool thing about it is then you can start to run reporting on it and see your probabilities kind of in real time. So right here, here's for my actual pipeline this quarter. And so here we could just look at a couple created deals and how many of them have then gone through the rest here. So pretty solid conversion rate for most of the main deal stages. And so far, one has gone to close one is still in contract sent. So then if I just go back to here, show the deal probability again. So for me, I've done a lot of consulting work similar to my current agency offer. So I went into this knowing what a good win rate would be. 80% is just not going to happen if you're starting out on day one. So, will it always be this way? Probably not. But I can use data like this in the report I just showed you. So yeah, that's my pipeline. Feel free to copy it exactly as it's set up, or just use as a foundation and make edits based on how your deal flow goes. So a few other things or a few other ideas for your pipeline is you may need a stage like prospecting that would come earlier in over here if you want your CRM to track outreach in a very detailed way, which is really common. This is a really common use case for CRM. For me, at this moment in my business, I only want qualified leads that I've made contact with to be in my HubSpot. You may also want to get more detailed around proposal or contract stages. So if you're in an industry that's more technical, like cybersecurity or something like that, or even most Fortune 100 companies, there's likely a deeper review process that will need to happen on the client side that you should absolutely account for. You don't want a deal to just sit in one stage, even though there's a bunch of other activity happening in the background. It'll help you long term to just create a stage that accounts for that activity. Because think about it, if you have other people on your team and say someone is managing this deal flow, you don't want to be confused or get upset with them or something of wondering hey, why is this stuck in proposal sent, when in reality the person managing the deal knows that, it's on the client side, we're expecting something in a couple weeks. If that consistently happens in your deal flows with potential clients, just create a stage for it. It makes things much more transparent, and it makes things much more accurate to how you actually sell to your customers. Ultimately thinking critically about what must happen during a deal is the best way to set up your pipeline. And it's never a finished process, so you should be updating your pipeline as major changes happen. in how you sell, who you sell to, and what you're selling. So now I'm going to show you how to create a deal record in HubSpot, as well as some custom properties, so you can consider how to make your HubSpot like very specific to your business. So here I'm in the pipeline still, so I can go up here to create deal, and I'll just create this this test deal here, test deal for YouTube. So pipeline, in this case it's test, or I would just do my normal one. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be starting with this with connected, just because I want to be really diligent about when I create deal stages. It should be at the beginning. I shouldn't be creating deal stages in the proposal sent, contract sent, or even the close won stage. One, because that really messes up the data that I'm trying to be, pretty careful of, pretty conscious of. And also it doesn't help me, right? Like if I'm just creating something, I'm slowing myself down, and I need to be very proactive around creating deal records. So I'm aligning with how I'm operating to how my CRM is. Amount. So this isn't a required field, but let's just put in $100,000. That'd be nice. So close date, by default, it will just make the close date the last day of the current month. So we can just leave that as is. For me, deal owner, by default, it's gonna be your own user account. So, and deal type here, for me, I like to track new and existing business. So I'll just put new business here. Close loss reason, that's not relevant. Contract length, this is a custom property that I created, just something that I want to track. So here, let's just put in like 2 months. And the offering type, for me, I have 2 offering types right now. This is a custom property, I believe. And for me, I'll just do consulting. And so what's also really cool about this is you can associate your deal with other existing contact or company records. So if you've been prospecting a company for a while and you've been documenting that within your HubSpot, you can, and now you have an opportunity to create a deal with them. You can just associate it with the contact, and then you can hit this checkbox here, and it will add all of the timeline activity to that deal record. So then you can see, well, what happened historically to lead us to this point. You can have it all within one place. So now I'll go here and I'll hit create. And now that I have this deal, I can work directly out of HubSpot. For the most part, I can send emails from here through any key contacts that I add. I can make notes. I can send invoices through here. So I have my HubSpot linked up with QuickBooks. So I can create an invoice right here. I can add existing ones. Let's say I forget later on, or it's just part of a different process. Like I can just retroactively add these in to make sure all of the data is lined up. And that is really like one thing I love about HubSpot is their app ecosystem is just like the best. It's the best out of there. Like 9 out of 10 times the apps you're using outside of your CRM can integrate with HubSpot. And depending on the integration, you can do most of the activity directly within HubSpot as opposed to bouncing back and forth between apps. So as you work the deal, you'll want to make sure to update the deal stage. So you can either do that right here within the deal record, or you can do it right here. So you can just go like that and drag it right to the next one. To edit there's a few things that you can edit and make things much more customized, like how you prefer to work. So I really like the board view. Makes things very simple. It has a very linear flow to it. But you could also, if you have a lot of deals and you want to like filter and look at things from a different lens, you can look at these in the list view. So what you can also do here is edit what shows up when you actually create a deal. So before we saw, I create deal, we see these fields here. So here you can just hit edit this form, or you can go into the deal settings that I showed before. You'll see this here. And now this shows all the properties that show up when I'm creating a deal. So I'm going to actually remove close loss reason, because why would I have that there if I'm creating a brand new deal? And on the left side here are all different deal properties you can select. So I'll hit save. So the next time I create a new deal, that won't show up. And also what you can do is you can edit what shows up in the deal record. So here, I keep it really simple. Like, these are just the main things that I want to track, and you can view all the properties to see everything else about that deal. But you can also just manage the properties, change the order of them, and see what shows up, or remove things that you don't want. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That is how you can create your pipeline, set up your deal stages, create a deal record, and ultimately build a system in your CRM that keeps all your deal and sales data in one place and helps you close deals much faster. Again, if you found this video really valuable, I would very much appreciate like and subscribe as well. Catch you on the next one.